think those people are likely NPCs?
It is possible. It's hard to judge. I would more be interested in who is definitely the main character in a simulation and what they're up to.
So you think being in a simulation implies that there's one person that knows that we are for certain?
Not knows, but looking at what they are accomplishing, it's clearly like they are paying to be in this game. They entered it as a main character.
Who do you think is the main character?
There are many possibilities. Look at the most interesting people and their chances of accomplishing what they accomplish.
Do you kind of see that as the purpose of life to an extent? Like, kind of, it sounds funny, but just to be the main character, the most interesting character in the simulation?
Not necessarily. So that's a given. The purpose probably is to beat the simulation with the level you enter with. So somebody can play it on an easy level, somebody plays it on a hard level. Beat the game on a hard level.
Do you have any ideas on ways that you could break out, beat it?
Other than creating super intelligent assistant? Not really. I assume we need some sort of quantum physics experiments done by advanced AI.
That's interesting. What do you think of déjà vu?
People argue that it's some sort of side effect of poorly programmed simulation, but I have no reason to think any of those things are related.
Tell me more about that. Are there any, like, what are some of the weird examples that show we would be in a simulation that you think of?
So look at video games and how we optimize graphics, rendering, things of that nature, and then look at quantum physics and how similar it is. So we know there are observer effects. Things don't get rendered unless a player looks at them. There is discrete nature of physics, kind of like updates in a video game. There is fixed speed of light, which is, again, the processor speed of a computer. So there are papers mapping all those concepts, showing that this is very likely a digital physics simulation.
So what would make it not a simulation? Like there would have to be no constraints?
So for example, why would a non-simulation have efficiency in rendering? Why would it matter whether you're looking at something or not for it to be rendered? It shouldn't make any difference. So double slit experiment should behave the same way whatever you're looking at it or not.
And that has been replicated multiple times.
It's the most established result in all of science, probably.
Yeah, every religion predicted a creator would judge humanity. Do you think we're accidentally building a God that will judge us?
It would be difficult because the source of judgment should be with the superintelligent being. So it would make no sense to retroactively judge us for future ethics it invents. It makes sense if we are creating something right now, we're setting a set of ethical standards, we're creating AI and saying you need to follow that set, and if you don't, we'll deactivate you, punish you in some way. It's consistent. But to create a bunch of agents, let them do their thing, and then say, actually, what you're doing is unethical, doesn't make sense. We sometimes do it with our culture. We judge people from the past by standards of today. We go, oh, we got to take down this monument, 200 years ago, that guy was not a vegan. Oh my God, what a crazy guy. At the time, it was the way to do it.
That's interesting. So you think that logically the thing that would judge us would be the thing that created us to begin with in the simulation, not the thing that we're creating? Like, I'm guessing, like, what's the differentiator between if we create superintelligence versus the thing that created us? Like, would they not be of the same entity almost? Like they would be at the same point?
It seems in one case you have justice, you have a designer set a set of rules, and then if you disobey rules, you get punished. In the other case, you have someone coming around and going, I'm inventing this new rule, and I'm going to judge you by it for what you did in the past. They could be equally capable if you're just referring to their ability to do engineering or science. Both can create biological robots, but I think it makes no sense to have retrocausal evaluation and punishment. Unless there is universal ethics discovered.
That's what I was going to ask.
Nobody told us about it yet.
Does that seem likely that there would be a monolithic set of beliefs of something that is super intelligent? Because I know there's degrees of super intelligence, but I guess it's not necessarily the case that it would cap out at a certain level of intelligence.
Right, it doesn't end at any level. You can always add more memory, more speed, up to a certain degree and then parallelize it even more. But the only way to achieve something universal is to look at something like suffering. So we can agree that maybe suffering is universally bad, and then reduction in it or increase in it would be how you judge agents. But we already talked about negative utilitarians as not being the best answer.
Have you ever been religious?
And some people say my belief in simulation makes me one.
I guess any of the big three?
I like and respect all of them. I enjoy holidays, gifts for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, but I don't observe daily any of the prescribed rituals.
So I think the definition of God, at least by like most monotheistic religions, is like omnipotence, omnipresence, what is it, omnibenevolence? Like being all good, all knowing, all powerful, and everywhere. It seems like 3 of the 4 of those would be characteristics of superintelligence. But like, is omnibenevolence not necessarily guaranteed? Is that the only one that's not guaranteed?
We cannot define benevolence. We don't know what that means. We disagree on what is good. Once we settle that argument, yeah, we can do it.
So I guess it would be omnibenevolent by nature because it, like, if there is some type of universal good that it comes to.
So in religion, the God decides morals. And then whatever God does is moral. It's very convenient.
Did you do any research on like some of the old religious text with AI? Like, did you ever run any through AI to see any patterns that were interesting to you?
We haven't. I think at one point we had some stylometry research on religious texts, but because of translations, it didn't go anywhere.
This is just my boyish curiosity at this point, but like, did you do any research on like aliens? Did you make any like strange conclusions about the universe? Like a lot of these mysteries that people are curious of?
No, people ask about, why we don't see aliens and if superintelligence is possibly an answer to some of those answers. But there are so many possibilities which cancel out. So do we not see them because they start building internally and become smaller? Do we not see them because they kill themselves before they expand? If they actually kill everyone, why do we not see wall of Computronium moving towards us? So it's somewhat outside of our knowledge, evidence to make a conclusive decision.
You think it's definitely not possible that we as humans already created superintelligence? Like, and we all died, but a few of us lived, something like that?
It's possible that we created superintelligence and this is a virtual environment into which you enter as a video game to experience 2025 and how crazy it was. Look at that video game graphics. Like they can't even have heat in this garage. Isn't it crazy?
Have you looked at the DMT laser experiment?
No.
Really? That's a fascinating one. I should connect you with that guy. He's like the leading researcher in DMT. Essentially, they took a laser, basically widened the laser, and people on DMT looked at it and essentially saw code. And the second person would look at the laser and they would see the same set of code on the wall and they would write it down to test it. And like multiple people all saw the same code. And when you move the laser to a different point on the wall, it's a different code. And when you put it on your hand, it's a different code. And it was just really interesting how that pointed to the simulation theory, But I guess, what do you make of something like that?
Did they publish it?
I would guess so. You haven't seen it?
Like, I don't mean made public. I mean published. Is there a peer-reviewed paper in Nature describing that awesome experiment?
Not that I have knowledge of.
So usually that's the standard for deciding if something is real or not. If they discover something like that, that's at least a couple Nobel Prizes in physics, right?
Really?
Should be. I would give it to them if that was real.
What science fiction novel would you guess accurately represents the future?
Well, none of them do. Nobody can write a believable superintelligence character. They capture different aspects of the world as it could be. So Dune talks about not having AI and fighting it, Butlerian jihad. Maybe Star Wars are great for showing a dumb language model, C-3PO. something like Ex Machina is excellent for social engineering attacks, Turing test, escaping the bugs. So if you take all of them, you can learn from each one, but there is not one which actually gets it right.
Is there any that you've looked at that you're like, wow, I'm surprised they predicted this thing that's happened in the last few years?